How do I go from renting to buying? Sir asks a lot. Well, sir, there's a lot that goes into that, and there's a lot you need to think about before you decide to go buy a house, and a lot of things that you need to do to prep yourself before you want to go buy a house so that you don't get yourself in a pickle. There's a lot of reasons why you rent. There's a lot more reasons why you want to buy, but you want to make sure that you're prepped to do that. You want to make sure that you have every tool imaginable in your belt so that when you go to the point where you're about to buy, you're not getting yourself in a situation in your rental or in your lease that will cost you more in the end.
I currently rent right now, and we're in the position we're trying to save some money for a down payment on a home. Why should I buy a house when I'm enjoying the convenience of having somebody else pay for my maintenance, have somebody else pay for my yard, like my lawn care? Like, why should I buy a house?
So, number one, you shouldn't buy a house. You should buy a townhome where all of those things are taken care of for you. Ding! A lot of people like to rent because a lot of the times the maintenance is taken care of in the home, the lawn care is taken care of, all the things that you don't want to do necessarily. Some people do, some people don't. You get that with renting, but what a lot of people don't understand is you actually get that with buying in certain instances as well. So for instance, townhomes that have a certain HOA are required to take care of your bushes, are required to mow your yards, to keep up with all of those things. All you have to keep up with is on the inside. And guess what? Instead of using that money that you're using towards the rent, which is basically the same thing as burning the money in a pile out back, you're actually taking that money and you're putting it towards an investment. You're putting it over towards a house that you will build equity in. That's the big key difference here. And you still get those things that you really love, like lawn care. Your place is still gonna look great. You don't have to keep up with as much, but you still get a house that's either a 2 or a 3 bedroom and has a good amount of square footage for you to grow a small family in. And it could be a starter home. Townhomes are great starter homes. So keep that in mind as well. So a lot of times right now, people think that they're gonna spend a lot more on a mortgage than they are on the rent. Well, the truth is that your mortgage payment and your rent payment might actually be very similar. They might be a little bit off as far as like $100 a month, but think about that $100 extra a month that you're gonna be spending, and that's just a potential. It all depends on what we talk about with the lender, but getting pre-approved is huge. So once we get you pre-approved and we find out what that number is monthly, we can compare that to your actual monthly that you spend now and figure out, hey, compare it apples to apples. Is it really that big of a difference? So another thing that a lot of people ask me is, when should I start searching for a home when I'm renting? Well, the thing is that you don't want to start doing it too early and you don't want to start doing it too late. For instance, I think a good time to start getting pre-approved and everything would be as soon as possible. Whether that's you're in a 12-month lease, a 6-month lease, a month-to-month, it doesn't matter. As soon as we can, we need to figure out where you're at. So if it takes you 3 months to build your credit, we'll know that we're 3 months out. Whether you're in that 12-month lease or not, we'll at least know a timeline. That way we can kind of plan around it. So we got to plan it to where it's all structured and in place to where you can get out of your lease and move into your house almost simultaneously. Another thing that a lot of people don't think about is your first payment on your home. Let's do it for instance. If you do a December closing and you close December 1st, your first payment's not going to be until February 1st. So if your lease is up at the end of the year and the 30th, you don't have to worry about it. You've already paid that month, right? And then you don't have another payment until February. So it gives you that cushion. That way you're not sitting here paying 2 mortgage payments or a rent payment and a mortgage payment. That's something really smart to think about when you're wanting to rent and buy. I don't know why I just hit myself in the face.
Okay.
Is there anything around here?
No, I think you're good.
Okay, like for real?
Oh, you're good. No, yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when you talk about renting, this is like, really? It's fine. That's fine.